There are many urban legends, rumors, and outright misinformation spread about cartoons over the years, mostly thanks to people who haven't watched these since they were kids, and social media making it very quick and easy to spread false information. Today, we're going to be looking at some of the craziest urban legends about cartoons. For this video, we're going to be avoiding creepy pasta stuff like, oh, Angelica is imagining the babies, or oh, Ed and Eddie takes place in purgatory. Those are just edgelord fanfictions. We are taking a look at rumors. Captain Pugwash names. The British cartoon Captain Pugwash is the subject of a popular urban legend that states that all of the characters' names are sexual double entendres. For example, Seaman Staines and Master Bates. The rumor was so widespread that it ended up in The Guardian, which caused creator John Ryan to sue for libel. The characters' actual names were not dirty. Masturbate is actually Mr. Meat, and there is no Seaman Stains. Yes, there is a character named Willie, but unless your mind is in the gutter, that's not necessarily an innuendo. Steven Universe, fusion is a metaphor for sex. This is a particularly annoying one for Steven Universe fans, along with the "Durr, they instantly forgave literal space Hitlers." In the show Steven Universe, the characters can combine into different gems through a process known as fusion, which usually involves dancing. Fusion is a major aspect of the show. For instance, Garnet is a fusion made out of romance. Malachite is a fusion made out of an abusive relationship, and Pearl tricking Garnet into fusing a sardonyx is used to teach the audience about consent. However, some bad faith critics of the series claim that fusion is a metaphor for sex, and that the show is gross and evil for showing Steven fusing with Connie, the Gems, and Greg. Fusions are not a metaphor for sex. They are metaphors for relationships in general. As I said before, Garnet represents love, and Malachite represents toxicity. Smoky Quartz is a combination of Steven and Amethyst's fun-loving personalities, and Stevani represents the teenage experience. The idea that fusions are a metaphor for sex also ignores the fact that fusions are also used for practical purposes, like when rupees fuse during battles to become bigger. I think that this comes from how provocative some of the fusion dances are, but this doesn't necessarily imply sex. Teen Titans Go, Cyborg beat his meat to Raven's legs. An image circulated very commonly on the internet when discussing adult jokes in cartoons is this supposed screenshot from Teen Titans Go showing Cyborg literally beating meat to Raven's legs. However, these did not happen at the exact same time, contrary to what this photoshopped image shows. They are from different episodes. Cyborg beating meat happened in the episode Burger vs. Burrito, and yes, this is an adult joke, but it occurs by itself. Raven showed her legs in legs. Cyborg does not react to this, but Beast Boy sure does. Ren and Stimpy log sawing. Yet another myth about adult references in cartoons, this Ren and Stimpy gif is commonly used when talking about such jokes. Yes, Ren and Stimpy did have a lot of risque humor, but the log sawing scene is not part of the actual show. It's from Adult Party Cartoon, which, as you can infer from the title, is for adults. There are plenty of scenes from Ren and Stimpy you can use when talking about adult jokes, guys. Henry died in the tunnel in Thomas the Tank Engine. Okay, now we have one that isn't about sex, but is still frustrating to Thomas fans. A very widespread claim is that in the third episode of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, the sad story of Henry, Henry was left sealed in the brick tunnel forever and died in there. This is commonly cited to show how creepy and evil and authoritarian the show supposedly is. In the episode, Henry goes inside a tunnel so the rain won't spoil his paint, and he refuses to come out, which caused problems for the railway. So, Sir Topham Hatt decides to build a brick wall so that Henry cannot leave. This is quite sad, and the harsh UK narration does not help.
"We shall take away your rails," he said, "and leave you here for always and always and always." But I think he deserved his punishment. Don't you?
The US narration, on the other hand, is much softer.
"We shall take away your rails," he said, "and leave you here until you're ready to come out of the tunnel." How long do you think Henry will stay in the tunnel before he overcomes his fear of the rain and decides to journey out again?
But Henry literally gets let out in the next episode. It must have been a while, since there's cobwebs in the tunnel, but he did not stay there forever, and he certainly did not die. Here's a movie-related rumor. It's been alleged that Jenny from Oliver and Company is the same person as Penny from The Rescuers, or that they wanted to use Penny in Oliver and Company before replacing her with Jenny. What's the reasoning behind this? Is it because they're both little girls and their names rhyme? I don't know. It could be people misremembering the trivia fact that Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians was going to be in The Rescuers before being replaced by a new character, Madame Medusa. Either way, George Scribner, the director of Oliver and Company, stated in an interview with Colin Looks Back that Penny and Jenny are not the same person.
Speaking of that, there's another, and I think you would confirm this by email, but I just want to have a record of you saying this. There's been an urban legend for years that the character Jenny was originally conceived as being Penny from The Rescuers.
Yeah, as I wrote, uh, if there was any relationship at all, it was Penny. The story of the Rescuers was Pete Young, who I mentioned under, worked on Rescuers and did a lot of sketches of Penny. But Jenny was named after Pete Young had three daughters, and it was one of his daughters.
Okay, so Penny was perhaps an influence, but it was never supposed to be her in the story.
I wouldn't even say it was an influence. I'd say it really more of a coincidence than anything else.
Okay, that is really good to have confirmation. I would see people talking about that a lot, but I never saw any official statement on it, and now I know
Yeah,
why.
there was never any relationship.
Snow White's prince's name and age. Now, for the final rumor, we have two misconceptions regarding the prince from Snow White. First, there's his name. His name has been assumed to be everything from Buckethead to Florian to Ferdinand. First of all, Buckethead was just a nickname given in a comic. Florian comes from a Disney fan site with no source. And the idea that his name is Ferdinand comes from the 1939 Oscars when Shirley Temple presented a special Oscar for Walt Disney and mentioned his cartoon characters, including Ferdinand.
I'm sure the boys and girls in the whole world are going to be very happy when they find out that the daddy of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Ferdinand, Mickey Mouse, and all the others, is going to get this beautiful statue.
But Ferdinand is not referring to the prince. It's referring to the bull from the 1938 Disney shorts. The prince has no official name and likely never will. Next, there's his age. In recent years, there's been this mostly American-based moral panic over age differences, which leads to trash articles about the scandalous and problematic age gaps in Disney relationships, with these articles claiming, with no source, that the prince is 31 and thus slandering him as a predator because Snow White is 14. In reality, he is supposed to be just 18, according to the book The Art of Walt Disney, and them being together is nothing out of the ordinary by medieval standards. He doesn't even look 31 anyway. All of this discourse is just so damn annoying. There's even pearl clutching over age differences of 2 years. How do we get to this point? Thank you for watching. And also, I just wanted to point out that recently I have set up a membership program. It's only about $1 a month, and if you join, you will get early access to new videos, shout out at the end of my videos. I will reply to your comments first before everyone else's, and you will get a badge. So please consider joining, because, college isn't cheap.